It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da 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 da
And I'm Kanye West.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a fun one. What's up, boys? Wow, finally, the Kanye ranking is here. This has been a requested video ever since the Eminem ranking, which was my first Drewsome video. One thing I really have to make clear is I don't think Kanye West has one bad album, not a single one. I think all 12 of his albums, 13 if you're nasty, have something super special about them, which is actually insane.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
The only artists I can think of off the top of my head who put out banger after banger to this extent are like Stevie Wonder and the Beatles. So I ask you this, is Kanye West better than the Beatles? But I wanted to make that clear, so before you comment that I'm a stupid piece of shit that doesn't know what he's talking about, I absolutely adore all these albums and ranking them was insanely hard. I didn't include Donda 2 because this script was being written before it was even announced and it's still not really even out. Just like live performances, shitty mixes, whatever, I'm sure it'll be fine. With that being said, let's jump into it. God, please, do not dox me.
How you doing? Peace be with you. Praise Jeebus.
So Jesus is King takes the last spot, but I gotta be honest, this album grew on me a lot. When it first came out, I really didn't care for it, but after listening to it again for this video, I liked it way more than I was expecting. I think the album has a bumpy start with Every Hour and Salah, but I think once you get to Follow God, it's hard to dislike it. It has a lot of really cool production, which is something you're gonna hear about every album on this list. Those guitars on Closed on Sunday create a great build up to the first verse with those background vocals. Jesus is Lord has beautiful horns and water has such an island feel to it. It's so beachy, I love it. I think the only thing I don't like about the production is on God. I do love that 8-bit type sound that we get from Pierre Bourne, but I think it goes on for too long. There were parts where I felt like it should have stopped and maybe come back. Hearing it for the whole song was kind of obnoxious and it bothered me. There's a lot happening on that song, so I think it could have benefited from toning itself down a little bit.
Shut up! Shut up!
The vocal performances here from Kanye are pretty great. His flow on Follow God is hard. I love how he just doesn't stop rapping. His singing is really good on songs like Closed on Sunday, Jesus is Lord, and Use This Gospel. I would say his singing on God isn't really for me.
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't like hearing him stretch his voice. I feel like if he would have dropped it an octave, it would have sounded a lot better, and this probably would have been one of my favorite songs, because I think the lyrics are beautiful and the beat is great. The choir vocals on this album are essential and really push the gospel vibe this album creates. The features aren't anything crazy besides Ty Dolla $ign on Everything We Need. His chorus is beautiful with those harmonies. I honestly think this might be the best song. Ant Clemens does a great job on the refrain. I think the bass and the drums are amazing. Kanye's verses are short, but he delivers some pretty good lines and I really enjoy them. Some of the features here are hit or miss, like on Use This Gospel, I think the song has the best instrumental on the album with those background vocals, but I think the verses, more so the delivery of those verses, isn't so great. The hook from Kanye is great, and I hate to say this, but Pusha T's verses doesn't do it for me here. Same thing with No Malice. I don't know, I just don't love their deliveries. They kind of throw off the vibe for me. The saxophone from Kenny G is fire, and the outro to the instrumental is great. Overall, this album is pretty good. A lot of people ask if you can enjoy this album if you're not Christian, and I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, if I wasn't Christian, I probably wouldn't want to listen to this, but that's just me. Jesus King is like a solid 6.5 out of 10. Here's the tracklist ranking. The next one's gonna be fun. In this entire list, Yeezus was the one album I didn't really care for all that much, so I'm happy to report that this album is great. It probably has my favorite production of any Kanye album. I really mean that. From those weird distorted sounds at the beginning of On Sight, you can tell that this album is gonna be bonkers. The beats are fucking great here. Guilt Trip has beautiful strings and video game-like sounds. Black Skinhead has amazing drums and chest-bumping subs. And Bound 2 has some of the best sample flipping Kanye West has ever fucking done. Kanye said that Tyler, the Creator, was a big influence for this album, and I think that's extremely apparent in the production.
I don't think it would have been a Yeezus if it wasn't for you.
The hidden features are also great surprises. Chief Keef on Hold My Liquor gives me one of my favorite performances on the album, Kid Cudi on Guilt Trip is angelic, and Bon Iver on I'm In It is a welcome guest as always. Same with Assassin, I fucking love his voice. While the lyrics vary from song to song, I would say Kanye does a pretty good job here, bringing bars and a couple really good lines on each song, like this line on Black Skinhead, and this line on Send It Up, and this line on New Slaves. When this came out, a lot of people said it was ahead of its time, and I have to be honest with you guys, I was a hater. I really didn't like it. I wanted something more like Kanye's past works, but I can report that all these years later, my third eye is open. A shorter review because honestly, I think this album really speaks for itself. There's not much I can really dive into. Here's the tracklist ranking, 7 out of 10. We have a lot to go.
We're gonna skate to one song only. Lady Hump by the Black Eyed Peas. What you gonna do with all that junk inside my trunk? I'm gonna get you drunk off my lady hump, my lovely lady hump.
I'm not skating to anything with references to lady humps. I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
Gets
gross.
the people going.
It's
No,
disgusting.
that's enough!
The fact that Watch the Throne even exists still boggles my mind. In 2011, the year of our Lord and Savior, we got a joint album from two of the biggest artists of all time. I was talking to someone about this project while writing this script, and when I said that, they were like, but we got an album from Drake and Future just a couple years ago. And I haven't heard a crazier statement in my life.
Get the fuck out of here!
That album, let alone those artists, cannot hold a candle to these boys. Also, for those of you who are like, but, you didn't count the Bad Meets Evil album for Eminem, why does Watch the Throne count? Because an album like this is essential to Kanye's discography. And no hate to Hell the Sequel, I actually really like that album, but these two just don't compare.
Fuck is y'all talking about?
Me, you die for
Fuck is y'all talking about?
No disrespect to Royce. This is a staple in these artists' discographies, and this isn't nearly talked about enough to be a staple for M. It's still really good though. Oh yeah, so Watch the Throne is great. This album is 16 tracks long, just under 65 minutes, and filled with crazy bars and beats. I think the production can be hit or miss, but it's a lot better in some places than others. That's My Bitch gets my favorite instrumental on the record, and Kanye and Jay-Z trading great bars. I really like this line from Kanye, and I really like this line from Jay. My man's Justin Vernon comes back with a great bridge here, and this song was easily making it to the top 5. Places where I feel like the production slacks a little can be found on songs like Illest Motherfucker Alive and Lift Off. I think the beat on Illest Motherfucker Alive is a little obnoxious at some points, and I think Lift Off is nothing special in comparison to the rest of the songs here. I honestly find its inclusion a little odd. It's not bad by any means, but, you know, I think the standout song on this album is...
So, who was in Paris?
Well, we're waiting.
Okay, we're just gonna call this song Paris. But the standout here is Paris, with an insane beat, great hilarious bars, and Kanye and Jay just flexing all over this song, boasting about their money, their possessions, and honestly just having fun. What's crazy is this is the 4th single to the album. It wasn't even released as a single until a month had passed since the album's release. This is probably the best song on here. What I love about this record is that it doesn't feel like a competition. It feels like two friends genuinely having fun, and it shows on songs like Otis, Murder to Excellence, and Ham. We get beautiful songs with amazing messages and stories with Made in America and New Day. This album has not one, but 2 Frank Ocean features before Channel Orange was even out. I think we're really lucky to have this album because it truly is something really special and deserves all the love it gets. I would love to see a sequel one day. 7.5 out of 10. Here's the tracklist ranking.
That and Taylor Swift, fake ass. Y'all ain't gonna do this. We breaking the motherfucking internet.
The Life of Pablo continues the tradition of Kanye albums being long as fuck. Actually, hold on. I wrote this down somewhere. Just give me a second. Okay. College Dropout was an hour and 16 minutes long. 21 fucking songs. It was 2004, so this was actually common for some reason. Okay. Late Registration is about the same. Graduation is an hour. 808s is just under an hour. Dark Fantasy is an hour and 15, so same as College Dropout and Late Registration. Watch the Throne is an hour. Yeezus is 40 minutes. Life of Pablo, which we'll get to in a minute, is just over an hour. But then Ye and Kids See Ghosts aren't even 25 minutes. Jesus King is just about the same, and Donda is 2 fucking hours. It's over 2 hours. I know some people like long-ass projects, but like, dude, Every song better slap if you're making an album that long. And lucky for Kanye, that's the case with most of his projects, but this man has 12 albums and only 3 of them are significantly under an hour. I can't believe Donda is 2 hours. I didn't realize how long it was until the other day I was driving home from work and I didn't finish the album. And with traffic, my ride home is 2 fucking hours. So like, I don't know, man. What were we talking about? Oh, fucking The Life of Pablo. Jesus, I'm sorry. So I'll always have a torn relationship with this album. I remember when Kanye had said this album would only be on Tidal, and me and a million other people just downloaded it anyway, which I believe he makes mention of on St. Pablo. Side note, I'm really happy streaming exclusives aren't really a thing anymore because music piracy is bad enough. Why would you just low-key encourage it? I mean, we're seeing him do this again with the STEM player, and we're seeing shit like NFT albums, and that's another conversation, but I'm sorry, I just keep getting really distracted. Anyway, I didn't actually hear the final mixes of this album until maybe like a year ago. I still had my bootleg version that didn't even have St. Pablo. Safe to say, these mixes are obviously better, and the album is filled with bangers. Wolves, Real Friends, and Famous are some of my favorites. I remember listening to Real Friends and No More Parties in LA on SoundCloud when they came out. Yeah, I'm that old.
The fuck? Yay!
This album went through a ton of changes. I believe at first it was called So Help Me God, then Waves, then Swish, and then Life of Pablo. This album is similar to Donda in the sense that it has a ton of features on it from Chance the Rapper, Kid Cudi, Young Thug, Rihanna,
And so on and so forth.
Honestly, this album might be the tamest in Kanye's discography, and let me explain what I mean by that. The production is dope as always, but I think it's weakest in those terms. The only album I'd argue for that spot besides this one is Jesus is King, but this album has double the tracks.
Boobies.
And then the songwriting and the performances are great as always, but again, just not as memorable as some other projects. I feel like this album is what you would get if you asked a bot to write you a Kanye album, maybe besides the Bleach line. Kanye also for some reason writes a very meaningful verse, a verse which he said made him cry, on the Panda remix. Father Stretch My Hands Part 2 has some very personal lyrics on it despite it being a Panda remix. I really don't get how he thought that was a good idea. Kanye said that disrespectful shit about Big Sean recently, and I think he meant Designer, cause why is this verse on this song? This is gonna be a long video. I think the features on here are great. Kid Cudi on Father Stretch My Hands, Ty Dolla $ign and Post Malone on Fade, and even Frank Ocean makes an appearance on this album, which is very appreciated. And the rest of the project is loaded with features. I think the best one has to go to Kendrick Lamar on No More Parties in LA. He probably has the best verse on the album and honestly fucking washes Kanye on this track. Whenever I hear this song, I think of a good friend of mine just absolutely killing it in my car. Shout out to Shane. The song Facts gets a remix on here, and I think I like this version more than the original Jumpman parody instrumental. This album has highlights,
Get it?
and I really don't hate anything on here. I'm thinking like another 7.5 out of 10. Here's the track list ranking, and oh, free Max B up at the bracelets. I have been dreading this entry, not because it's bad, because it's not, because of its length. Let's get the worst thing about Donda out of the way. It's too fucking long. You've got enough songs here to make Donda 1, 2, 3, and maybe even 4 if you really want. While the songs are good, I have to say it was really hard to sit down and listen to all 32 tracks of this project multiple times. But I did it, and I did it for you, because as a man of the people, I will give the people what they want. Oh, and also the black cover is dumb. Anyway, Donda does not feel like an album to me. It honestly feels more like an event. From the literal events Kanye was hosting at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and all the features, it honestly feels like one big show, and the build-up to the album just felt like a build-up to waiting for a big concert. Just waiting for the lights to turn off and the artist to come out. Just to clarify everyone on this album, I'm gonna read you the featured artist. Syleena Johnson, The Weeknd, Lil Baby, Don Toliver, Kid Cudi, Andre 3000, Playboi Carti, Fuel 4, and Jay-Z, Baby Keem, Travis Scott, Tyler the Creator, Vora, Young Thug, Stone, the world famous Tony Williams, Kanye the Machine, Westside Gun, Jay Electronica, The Lox, Pop Smoke, Lil Durk, Roddy Ricch, Chinisa, Lil Yachty, Ruga, Ty Dolla $ign, The Baby, Marilyn Manson, and KC. You see what I mean? It's a festival. A fucking weird festival with some weird people, but a festival nonetheless. I do have to say, even though this album was pushed back time and time again, then released, then re-released, it's still a really good project. I want to say the first half of the album is better than the second half, but I feel like I just start dozing off at the start of the second half. Most of these songs, though, are amazing. Hurricane is a great intro. Moon has me ascending every time I hear it, and Jail is hype as fuck. Every feature also puts in work on those tracks, from The Weeknd's smooth vocals and Lil Baby's great flow, Kid Cudi's hums that I wish I could listen to a whole album of, Don Toliver's great hook, and Jay-Z's crazy fucking bars. I love this part. And this part. He goes off, and honestly, I didn't mind when this song was the intro. We also get really catchy hooks on here, which I feel like have been lacking in some of the albums we've already talked about. The chorus on Believe What I Say is amazing. Don't let the lifestyle drag you down. Yay, let me get on the remix! Kanye also has killer flows on this record. His flow on OK OK is hard as fuck, and his flow on Remote Control is smooth and swaggy. Another standout feature on this project is Jay Electronica on Jesus Lord. A good friend of mine said that his verse is a perfect example of how to do religious rap, quoting the Bible, still including crazy bars, and not relying on the subject at hand alone to be moving. Shout out to Antonio. Again, wow, that's 2 shoutouts. If I had a nickel for every time I gave Antonio a shout out in a ranking video, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Because of how many songs are on here, I feel like some become forgetful. Up From the Ashes, Lord I Need You, Jonah, these songs aren't bad by any means, but they just get lost in this seamlessly never-ending album. And that's unfortunate considering this album is really good. I think some of these songs will become hidden gems in Kanye's discography as the years go on. The best song on here has to be Life of the Party. The beat is gorgeous with that beautiful soft piano, the subtle drums, and great dramatic sample. Kanye gives us an incredible verse about his childhood, his family life, talking about the pressures he feels as one of the world's biggest celebrities, but also the accomplishments that come along with it. I like the line about Kim putting her whole family on too. But the main takeaway from this song isn't the beat, it isn't the Kanye verse, but Andre 3000's guest appearance on this song. He raps some of the most personal, beautiful, and introspective lyrics that I've heard in a long time. Speaking on his deceased parents, feeling so lost without them and reminiscing on old times. Exaggerating his coughing while his mother smoked cigarettes in an attempt to get her to quit. Asking if his dad was ever really happy in his life. He confesses to his mother that the reasons he was excited about church weren't so pure. In fact, quite contradictory to typical church teachings. This reminds me of these lyrics he rapped a couple years ago too. Andre 3000 has such an overwhelming presence, and he always leaves such a lasting impression on every feature. Donda is it's an 8. It's an 8. Here's the Will-breaking tracklist ranking. Please do not be in my comments saying, I can't believe you put Jesus Christ over Bible Story Part 3. It's a 32-track album. Ranking these songs was torture.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
So this part of the video is on camera, and do not be in my comments saying, what's that thing on your face? I haven't shaved because I've been working on this video for you guys. I know I look like a Hispanic Michael Cera. Leave me alone.
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all.
As I was saying, this part is on camera because some of the topics discussed can be a little triggering, so if you rather not hear me discuss any of these topics, you could skip to this time frame. For a 7-track album, Ye is extremely personal and poignant, landing at number 7 on this list. It starts with a half-spoken word, half-song with I Thought About Killing You. Kanye details his mental struggle, talking about these dark thoughts of murder and suicide at length in these emotional verses. He reveals his struggle with suicidal thoughts. He's mentioned before that this thought is actually very common for him and that it's always an option to him. I think right away we can see that this album is very different from the rest. While Kanye has always been very personal in his music, this is the first mention of suicide, at least to my knowledge. Following the intro, we move into Yikes, a song where Kanye opens up about his opioid addiction. The side effects of these opioids is depression, suicidal thoughts, respiratory depression, a reduced ability to breathe, and more. The song has a great hook and interesting lines where Kanye draws comparison between himself and Michael Jackson and Prince, 2 artists who overdosed on prescription medication. All Mine is a song about cheating on your wife, I think. It's a good song. I mean, it's probably one song on this album that's not overwhelming with emotion, in my opinion. We also get this line, so, that's fun. Wouldn't Leave is a beautiful song about Kanye's wife, Kim Kardashian. It's about how she's always stuck it out with him and hasn't left during the hardest times, when it would have been easier to just leave. He mentions the time that he called slavery a choice, and Kim got really scared that those comments were going to jeopardize their careers, but even in that moment, she wouldn't leave him. It's actually very touching. You could put any 2 people in this situation, not just Kanye and Kim. I just think it's important to have someone there with you to that, to that extent. No Mistakes is kind of a rant. Kanye mentions his debt, he talks about his mental health, and he even takes a couple shots at Drake. Even with all of this stuff going on, Kanye still finds the time to yell at Drake, so that's pretty funny. It has cool samples, a nice hook from Charlie Wilson and Kid Cudi. Not too much to say about this song, and not that there's not a lot to it, it's just the length. It's a really short song. So the next song is Ghost Town, and this is obviously the most popular song for a reason. I've seen people refer to this as the album's climax. The song is about eternal conflict, self-harm, and liberation. Liberation from drama, stress, and the anxieties of life. The guitars on this song are crazy, and the sample flipping is some of Kanye's best. The outro by 070 Shake is probably the highlight of the song, triumphantly singing that nothing hurts anymore, inflicting pain on yourself to see if that emotional numbness is real. It's beautifully tragic. The Kid Cudi vocals are mournful yet uplifting. It's certainly the best song on this project, and I think really captures the whole point of the project. The album ends with the song Violent Crimes, and it's probably one of the best closers to any Kanye album. It details his personality shift caused by the birth of his first daughter, North. He talks about how his perception of women has changed since having daughters. He finds it as a kind of karma that he worries that someone's going to treat his daughter the way he used to treat women. It has a beautiful hook from Shake, and the verse was actually written by somebody else. I don't know the name of the person off the top of my head. I'll put it here. But one thing I saw passed around that people thought that it kind of took away meaning, that Kanye didn't write the verse himself, and that is the stupidest shit I have ever heard. You don't have to create something yourself to relate to it or even feel like something is about you because of how much it might apply to your situation. Also, if you think an artist not writing their own song somehow makes it lose meaning, I have bad news for you, buddy. Overall, Ye is tragic. It can be a tough listen, but it's beautiful nonetheless. Ye's probably about an 8 out of 10. Here's the tracklist ranking.
Piss off, Ghost! He's freaking gone.
Kids See Ghosts is the long-awaited collab album from Kanye and Kid Cudi, and it definitely does not disappoint. 2018 was a funny year for good music artists in that they had 7-track albums. Okay, Tiana had 8, big deal. I think Pusha actually said something about this, but it could have just been like a dream I had. Regardless of its length, like Ye before it, this album is fucking great. Killer flows from Kanye and Cudi, banging beats and all-around amazing music. This album starts without Kanye or Cudi rapping, with Feel the Love featuring Pusha T, who delivers the opening verse to the record. The drums here are insane and hit you right in the chest. Kanye's yelling on here is fucking fire. It makes me want to slap the shit out of somebody.
I'm trying to do what you say. You keep screaming. You're screaming something at me. Stop! Stop!
Fire starts off with those classic Cudi hums and Kanye asking the haters if they got nothing better to do. This song talks about the missteps in life and being judged for them, but instead of lingering on them, overcoming them and asking for forgiveness. We get a great outro from Cudi asking for heaven to lift him up. There's a great bass line and punchy drums behind those hums. It's infectious. Fourth Dimension has a great sample flip of Louis Prima's What Will Santa Claus Say, and Shirley Ann Lee's Someday, which is also sampled on Ghost Town from Ye. I think Cudi might have the better verse here with some fun lines, but Kanye has his fair share as well. I like the line about not finishing a prison sentence and then the literal sentence being cut off. It has rolly drums, deep subs that complement the sample really well. Free picks up right where Ghost Town Part 1 left off with the not feeling pain anymore lines. Instead of Shake, we get Ty Dolla $ign, but honestly, I think his Harmony Soup Part 2 better than Shake's would've. No hate to her though, she's sick.
Don't tell the others, but you're my favorite.
There isn't much to this song, honestly. It's very repetitive, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Kanye and Cudi sound great here, but I think Ty Dolla $ign is the main takeaway from this song, along with that instrumental. Holy shit. Reborn is probably my favorite song on here. Cudi's beautiful hook, Kanye's personal verse about overcoming his personal issues and how to keep moving forward from his mistakes. The instrumental is spacey, and I'm sure this would be a good song to listen to high. I don't smoke, I'm just assuming. The outro's drum change is great and impossible to not want to dance to. Great synths, fun auto-tune, and organs. The title track features Cudi delivering some introspective bars, looking for the truth instead of running from it. Kanye gets a much longer verse talking about the stress and expectations of his fame, the pressure of all of it, and how he feels about his competition and the media. Unpopular opinion, the Tyler the Creator version of this song is better, okay? I'ma say it for everyone who isn't brave enough. The album ends with Cudi montage. It features a Nirvana sample and 2 deep verses from Kanye and Cudi. Cudi starts the song talking about the feeling of the weight of the world on his shoulders, asking God to help and trying to lose these feelings of hopelessness. We get a great hook from Cudi and Mr. Hudson before Kanye comes in with a verse about violence and the cycle of said violence created by gang culture and the damage it causes. While the verses were short, I think the feelings pushed by this song send their message loud and clear and ends the album on a high note. Kids See Ghosts is easily an 8.5 out of 10. Here's the tracklist ranking. Now for a little intermission. Hello, Drewsome here.
Hello, Zuko here.
I thought we would do a little intermission because this video is long as fuck, And the amount of times I get really tired of watching long videos and will I have to come back to them, I figure at least here you get a little treat. You don't just get the Kanye albums ranked, you also get the album covers ranked. That's right, I put together a little PowerPoint for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. We're gonna rank the album covers for a little intermission part before we get into the next album. So here we go. So number 12, Donda. Nothing. There is nothing to this album cover. It is a black square. It loses by default. Although the deluxe cover is a little better. So let's take a look at that. Yeah. So the deluxe cover is definitely a little better. It has slight alterations to it. Nothing too crazy, but I definitely think this one is a little better. Number 11, The Life of Pablo the Penguin. So the photos cover the words, Kanye. I can't read the words. And there's a woman's butt on this cover, which is not appropriate for our younger audience. Number 10, Graduation Masturbation. It's really busy. It's not cool. What is he shooting out of? Is that a planet? Is that a mouth? What the fuck is that? A plant? I don't even know what I'm looking at. Number 9, Jesus Christ Superstar. It's not Yeezus. I think this album cover thinks it's Yeezus, but unfortunately, it is not. If you listen to this album, you will not hear Yeezus. Number 8, The Middle School Dropout. There's a furry. There's a furry on this album cover. Do with that information as you will. Number 7, License and Registration. There's an Among Us reference on this album. There is an Among Us reference on this album. So, this album definitely deserves to be ranked at this spot because of the Among Us reference. I know that has nothing to do with the album cover, but listen to the album. Play Among Us, okay? It's the best game of all time. Number 6, Watch the Boys. Gold, royalty, thrones, gold like royalty. This makes perfect sense for this album cover. I couldn't imagine anything else being this cover. No text, no picture, nothing. Just gold, royalty, Watch the Boys. Light 6, there's a censored naked lady on this album cover. And for all my boys out there, if you Google this album cover uncensored, you can see the naked lady. It's a nice album cover. Number 4, Bay. There are pretty mountains that Kanye took a picture of himself, and there's a bipolar joke, which Kanye's bipolar, so he can make a joke about it, but I'm not gonna say nothing. Number 4, Ramona and Beezus. It's shiny. It's really shiny. If you look at the picture, it's really shiny. And there's duct tape on it, which is like cool. It's like really like edgy. And so it's a reference to music being on a CD. So you might not, you guys might not know this, you Gen Zers, but music used to be on CDs like this. People, you have to actually take it out and put it in this fucking big, bulky, ugly machine and hear the music. It's so fucking stupid. I don't even know who came up with that. Number 2, 808s and Heartburn. There's a cool heart. They ripped it up. They ripped up the heart. And you know who ripped it up? Mickey, apparently. Those are fucking Mickey Mouse gloves or something. The colors are fun. And number 1, Kids See Benadryl Monsters. So I have personally seen Benadryl Monsters, so I understood this reference. I really appreciate Kanye and Cudi for putting that there for all of us who have seen Benadryl Monsters before. So here's the ranking. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you're enjoying the album ranking as well. So let's get back into it.
I don't wanna go to school because I'm stupid.
The College Dropout is surprisingly one of the Kanye albums I revisit the least, and if you couldn't tell by its spot on this list, I don't dislike this album, like, at all. I would say its only flaw is that it's too long, and I know that's one of the only things I've been critiquing for like every album but one, they're too long. 2, the music is great, so what the fuck else am I supposed to critique if I genuinely don't have any other complaints besides the length?
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
This album is 21 tracks, with 14 of them being songs, 5 skits, which was something of the 2000s. I don't know why everyone had skits on their album. One of them being like a skit song thing, I don't know. And then Last Call, which is dope, but it's just 12 minutes of Kanye talking about how he got signed. There's a lot to this album, if you couldn't tell. The skits are funny, don't get me wrong, but they're not essential. He makes good points about the societal pressures to go get your degree, then go back and get another degree, and about how all that knowledge really doesn't mean anything if you don't do anything with it. This album also has a ton of features for a debut, which is probably thanks to the Roc Nation connection. There's Jay-Z, Common, Twista, Jamie Foxx, Ludacris, Mos Def, Freeway, and more. There's also a ton of hits here. We Don't Care, All Fall Down, Jesus Walks, and more. With this being Kanye's debut, he sounds hungry as hell on songs like Spaceship, Get 'Em High, Never Let Me Down. We get some really funky keys on New Workout Plan and that awesome auto-tuned singing we've come to associate with Kanye. Some sick bass on 2 Words and Spaceship, and great samples on songs like Family Business, which sampled Adele's funky thing Diamond Ring. The only songs on here I can kind of do without are Breathe In, Breathe Out, and School Spirit. I really don't like the hooks of either song. I don't like the horns on Breathe In, Breathe Out. I think School Spirit, it's just the performance. I don't know. I don't really like it. It just sounds weird to me. It's interesting to look at Kanye's work prior to Dark Fantasy because he really was a totally different person. Even his demeanor, it's interesting to compare. I think the College Dropout is a fun album and a great debut that was obviously very promising. 8.5. Here's the tracklist ranking. Oh, and don't drop out of college. Oh, but Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard, not 10th grade English.
Dracula, sorry I'm late. I was doing stuff.
It's okay. I am stuck.
Oh my god, Mavis, no! Aha, Jonathan, you are banging my dog.
Late Registration is honestly just more College Dropout, but like better. I feel like that's the best way to describe this album because it's very similar to College Dropout, which isn't surprising considering it came out 18 months later, but it really steps it up with the rapping, the beats, and the samples, which are my favorite part of the record. I've downloaded a ton of new songs that are sampled on this album. They're just too fire. The Bill Withers sample on Roses is soulful. The Shirley Bassey Bond sample on Diamonds from Sierra Leone is gorgeous. And my favorite sample has to be from My Way Home, which samples Home Is Where the Hatred Is by Gil Scott-Heron. The raps and flows are way tighter here on songs like Drive Slow, where Kanye fucking spits fire all over this track. Fuck. Even Paul Wall goes off. I don't know too much about Paul Wall, but if all of his music is like this, I'm gonna have to listen. We get some really personal songs here like Roses about Kanye's grandmother's near-death experience, Hey Mama, a beautiful ballad about his mother, no shit.
Yeah, no shit, honey!
And Addiction, where Ye raps about his addictions developed from fame, like drugs, women, and money. One thing this album also excels in is its orchestral production, which can be attributed to the great John Bryan, who's behind a ton of great music. There's actually a live album titled Late Orchestration recorded in front of an audience of 300 people and a 17-piece all-female string orchestra at Abbey Road Studios. 8 out of the 13 songs performed on them were from Late Registration, giving the album its name. Although my favorite on here has to be the new workout plan. This version is insane. I can't believe I hadn't heard it until now. This album, like many before it on the list, is filled with hits. Touch the Sky, We Major, and of course, Gold Digger. This shit is a banger. I think the features here are great. I mentioned how much I like Paul Wall's verse. Lupe Fiasco is great. Adam Levine's annoying ass shows up. Not to derail the conversation, but Adam Levine is a dick. He said some really shitty things about people I personally know. I'm not gonna mention what it was or what has to do it because some of y'all will track me down. Basically, this man has no right to talk shit when he hasn't put out a decent album since 2012. You know who's had better than decent albums for their whole career? This guy. Sorry, his face just fucking annoys me.
Fuck you!
The Jay-Z remix of Diamonds from Sierra Leone is better than the original, and the one song on here that worried me at first was Crack Music. Luckily, it's really good. The reason it worried me was because of the game feature. I really don't like the game all that much. I think his music is pretty mediocre, and after the new song Easy that came out with him and Kanye, I really wasn't looking forward to revisiting their other song together. What about Moolah? Kanye barely says anything. Even Jesus Piece? These are barely collabs, like come on. Crack Music is good, is what I'm trying to say. Kanye was smart to not put a game verse on here. Also, Among Us reference, Among Us reference. I feel like I didn't say much about this album despite how much I like it. It's really good. I think the music speaks for itself. 9 out of 10. Here's the tracklist ranking.
I did not! Mr. Electric, send him to the principal's office and hang him!
Graduation finishes its respective trilogy strong and easily leaves an infamous imprint in Kanye's discography. Let's get the one negative out of the way. Drunken Hot Girls sucks. It's not a good song. I really don't think I need to elaborate. Now, on to what makes this album so special. What stands out to me the most on this album are the iconic verses and hooks. We see that with songs like Can't Tell Me Nothing, Stronger, and Flashing Lights, just to list a few. Can't Tell Me Nothing starts with these famous bars. Stronger has that amazing hook, which is credited with boosting Daft Punk's stardom in the States. Flashing Lights is... yeah. Funny story, not to derail the ranking, but this one time about 2 or 3 years ago, a couple of my friends were gonna try this very sugary candy, only for grown-ups, and they asked me to come hang out with them just in case anyone had a little too much sugar. It was about 9 o'clock, and they were all sitting in a dark room watching Flashing Lights slowed and reverbed. I had watched the movie with my girlfriend, then went upstairs to check on them, and an hour and a half later, they were still watching it. So that's usually what I think of whenever I hear that song. The 2 other singles from this album were Good Life and Homecoming. Good Life has crazy synths, and Homecoming has this infectious melody that gets stuck in your head. It also has Chris Martin, who is always a win. I Wonder probably has my favorite sample flip on the album, or second favorite if Stronger is listening to this ranking. I Wonder has these sick synths with pads in the back, and that punchy drum machine loop is great. The kicks really pop. Revisiting this album made me realize it's a lot shorter than I thought. It's just about an hour, but I could have sworn it was longer. This album also has my second or third favorite Kanye intro with Good Morning. It has great one-liners and a really pretty chorus. I hate to cut the graduation review so short, but the music really speaks for itself. I fucking hate when I put that in here, but it really does. The music is beautiful. A great change of pace with fun, experimental production, iconic lyrics from an amazing personality. 9 out of 10. Here's the tracklist ranking. Now onto the top 2.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
At the time, 808s and Heartbreak came straight out of left field. Until this point, Kanye had released 3 hip-hop albums, and while introducing new styles that would go on to shape the genre, he hadn't explored too much out of that genre besides some jazz and soul influence. Just about 2 months after the release of Graduation, Kanye's mother, Donda West, passed away at 58 due to complications regarding a past surgery. A year later, Kanye releases 808s, departing from the sound of his previous records and introducing a sound that was very electronic inspired, with one of the staples of this album being the auto-tune vocals and the use of 808s, hence the title 808s and Heartbreak. While Kanye's Graduation trilogy was and still is extremely influential, I would argue that this is where most of his modern influence starts. With 12 tracks hitting almost exactly 52 minutes, 808s and Heartbreak entails exactly what the title and artwork would lead you to believe. The album starts with the beautifully tragic Say You Will, and while being very conservative with its lyrical content, manages to be the perfect intro and possibly the best intro to any Kanye album. While the verses are only about 2 lines each, they manage to be heartfelt yet so painful alongside that gorgeous hook. This song is also half instrumental, with the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds of it just being that great beat. The background vocals are haunting. The instrumentals shine on this project, with the main takeaway of it being the production. Welcome to Heartbreak, RoboCop, and Bad News have beautiful strings, amazing features, and amazing drums. So amazing that Logic literally ripped them off for his song Contact. I feel like he didn't even change the tempo.
Dude, what the fuck?
The features here are perfect for the most part. Mr. Hudson and Kid Cudi on Paranoid, Lil Wayne on See You in My Nightmares, and yeah, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't think Jeezy's verse is that good. With this incredible instrumental, I can only imagine the potential feature that could have been almost any other frequent Kanye collaborator. It's also worth noting that this album marked the first collaboration between Kanye West and Kid Cudi, 2 of the most influential artists that helped shape the new sound of hip-hop. All 4 singles from this album are bangers. Love Lockdown and its sick drums during the hook, amazing, and yeah, Paranoid in its infectious chorus, and Heartless, one of the biggest hip-hop songs ever. The album's lyrical content is probably my favorite part, and not to undermine the production at all, cause it's perfect. I just can't look past how beautiful the songwriting is. We already covered Say You Will, and that song is just insane. And on Welcome to Heartbreak, Kanye raps over those beautiful lo-fi keys and punchy drums, as Cudi delivers that amazing hook. Bad News features these great lines that are such a good note to end the song on. And probably the best song on here lyrically, which is also one of the most underrated Kanye songs, Pinocchio Story. The most personal song on his album. So personal that it can feel uncomfortable at times. Speaking on his fame and how it was all he ever wanted, but now he looks at it as the worst thing to ever happen to him. He just wants to be a real boy. There's nothing he can buy to help him get out of this hell. He's starting to forget what real life feels like. Pinocchio lied, and that's what kept him from it. I tell the truth and I keep running. The toughest part of this song is where Kanye blames himself for his mother's death, saying that he should have never moved to Los Angeles, attacking his life choices and blaming himself for why he'll never be happy. The ironic twist of this song is the fact that it's recorded live, so as Kanye pours his heart out to this crowd, they continue to scream and shout while he asks them to treat him like a normal person. Truly an insane way to just end such a personal and revolutionary album. Here's the tracklist ranking, 10 out of 10, and we still have 1 more to go. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is one of the best albums of all time. Now I know that's not an unpopular opinion, but it's a very popular opinion for a reason. The appropriately titled record came out at a heavily scrutinized time in Kanye's life. Countless canceled tour dates and a very memorable speech, Kanye went into self-imposed exile from all the media to give himself time to think and form a response. And that response landed really, really well.
Skedaddle! Get the fuck out of here!
This album starts with the song Dark Fantasy, and we're greeted by the soon-to-be star, Nicki Minaj, telling us that we don't know what's to come. We might think we do, but trust her, we don't.
And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
As we start, the beautiful hook from Justin Vernon and Tiana Taylor comes in asking, can we get much higher? Kanye's at the peak of his career at the time, and it didn't seem like he can go any higher. Enter those clappy drums and Kanye's awesome flows, he drops great lines like this. That chorus comes back in just to lead into a great bridge and has a killer outro that really leaves you wondering, is this album going to be able to top the intro? And spoiler alert, this one doesn't even come close to the best song. Next up is Gorgeous, and
Say the line!
it's gorgeous. Yeah! That infectious guitar loop with those insane strings in the back and Kid Cudi's amazing hook. Fuck, it's so good. This song sees Kanye describing the disgusting racism in society, saying a Jerome will face more time than a Brandon, talking about the risk black people might take to make a living opposed to white people, and dropping really powerful lyrics all over the song. Raekwon comes in at the end with the best flow in the song and great bars. The guitar behind him leads into the final chorus from Cudi, and again, just mind-blowing. Next is one of the best songs ever. Not Kanye songs, one of the best songs in all of music. Rest in peace, Johann Sebastian Bach, you would have loved Power. This song, along with its visuals, creates an incredible experience. The Afro-America sample, the guitars, the drums, the sample from Gold Crits, those fucking verses. The system broken, the schools closed, the prisons open, we ain't got nothing to lose, motherfucker, we rollin'. That chorus only ages more beautifully every year. That instrumental synth bridge has me ascending every time I hear it. Okay, so after writing that line, I actually got up from my computer to go and listen to this song twice. It's just that good. It will never get old. All the Lights is an anthem. This song is about the personal problems that come with living as a celebrity in the public eye. He uses the imagery of lights and the story of a troubled family to further these points. Besides Ye and Rihanna, this song has contributions from 14 other artists like Drake, Alicia Keys, Elton John, and more. The horns are the main takeaway from this instrumental, along with those crazy drums and synths. This song is 12 years old at this point, and we saw the second verse basically come true, which is insane. It's an extremely popular song for a very, very good reason. Monster is next, and this song is infamous for obvious reasons, but we'll get to that. Justin Vernon starts us off with that sinister sounding intro that leads right into Rick Ross's short but funny verse. And then into Kanye's chorus and verse. The song and title make it obvious what this song is about. They're monsters at their craft. Kanye has a great delivery on his track with those braggadocious lines and jokes. He gives a great performance. Then Jay-Z comes in and oh my goodness! How ironic is it that a song featuring a new artist giving one of the best verses on the album also has an artist some consider the GOAT giving one of the worst verses of their career? Like, yes Jay, those are monsters. Okay, yeah, I think you're starting to get the point. No. Where did that come from? Why would you say that? What the fuck did he think he was doing here? You think he did something? Because you didn't. Alpha Media has a really funny video talking about Jay-Z's verse on this song. I highly encourage you to check it out. And the main attraction, Millie Bobby Brown's verse. Top 5 dead or alive.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
Nicki Minaj dropped some of the most iconic lyrics of her very young career here. She also has really funny lines like this. An overall killer flow and monstrous delivery. Get it? The drums are great with that sloppy snare. The keys sound so good I couldn't even tell what they were for a second. So Appalled is next, and I've always loved this instrumental. The background vocals, the drums, the strings, it's really fucking good. This song is feature heavy with Swizz Beatz, Sci-Hi the Prince, Jay-Z, Pusha T, and RZA. I think Sci-Hi has the best verse here, and I really think RZA's inclusion is a little weird. Like, I don't know. I don't really think he fits on this instrumental at all. Probably one of the few missteps on this album. Kanye gives a great verse, Jay-Z comes back from that monster verse, and Pusha T gives us great bars like this. A great track. Track 8 is Devil in a New Dress, and this is my personal favorite. What the hell? Aunt, can you come take her? Zelda. Hi, babe. I know. Track 8 is Devil in a New Dress, and this is my personal favorite, and what I believe to be the best song on this album. It starts with that seamless sample cut of Smokey Robinson's Will You Love Me Tomorrow. It has hard-hitting drums and a great bass line that you feel in your chest. This song is about Amber Rose, whom he was with during the production of this album. Kanye's first 2 verses are filled with great lines like this, and the chorus too. Soon enough, we get that Mike Dean guitar solo, and I can't even put this into words. Hold on. Pause the video right now and go listen to it, okay? So pause it now. Okay, you heard it? Yeah. It's great. It's fucking great. Okay. Rick Ross's verse is fantastic. A lot of people say this is the best verse of his career, and I totally see why. It's remarkable. He drops absolute gems all over this verse that shouldn't be allowed.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
This is just another perfect song on this album. Runaway is next, and unpopular opinion, this is like the third best song on the album. Don't get it twisted, it's great, but it's not better than Devil in a New Dress and Power. That being said, the piano is gorgeous, and that E note has become iconic, and the 37-second build up to this instrumental is beautiful. The more laid back performance here from Kanye works really well for this song. The hook is hilarious yet relatable and contrasts with the beautiful instrumental so well. The strings on the bridge and the subs are just wow. Then leading into Pusha T's short but fun verse. That fucking ending with the fucking vocoder, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I cannot get enough of it. Some have described this song as a Greek tragedy rap. It takes the ideas of power, sex, and money and removes all the glamour from them. It's a beautiful song that deserves all the hype. Next is Hell of a Life, and fuck, I love the drums on here. Kanye's flows all over this beat so easily. And those keys in the chorus, dude. Speaking of the chorus, I actually used this line in my high school yearbook. What? I went to Catholic school. Like all the lights before it, this song oddly predicts some of Kanye's future as well. With the mentions of porn in this song, I also found out that Kanye would invite Nicki Minaj to watch porn with him during studio sessions. Like, he would just be watching porn in the middle of these sessions. Anyway.
What's wrong with you?
Blame Game slows it down, and this is another song that depicts Kanye's fame as a relationship with a woman, blaming it for all his problems but also loving it for giving him the life he's been able to live. The John Legend hook is really pretty, and god damn it, I hate the Chris Rock ending.
You what?
It's funny like once, but I cannot imagine anyone listening to the full 2.5 minutes of that song every time they hear it. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, I don't know. It's another small thing I don't really like about this album. Now we reach to what I thought should have been the album's outro, Lost in the World. I guess it technically is if you're not listening to the deluxe. It starts with the slowed intro from Justin Vernon until the drums come in, and it becomes so grand with Kanye and Justin singing together, and it's so good. While the verse is nothing crazy, I think it's perfect for this song. The hook also takes some lyrics from Bon Iver's Woods, and it just really works here. I think the beat and hook are the main takeaway from this song. It's such a grand finale that I wish it was. But alas, we have one more song. See Me Now is good, but let's get out of the way because we cannot end this review on a bad note. Big Sean's verse sucks. I know I came in his defense earlier in the video, but my opinion stands. The original leak of this song didn't have him, and like, it should have stayed that way. I love Big Sean, but he has plenty of corny songs and lyrics, and this verse is a golden example. Damn, I look so sexy, and you look like a pile of shit. Fuck it if he a jerk, I bet you jerk him off. It's just like a whole verse of nothing. He says nothing of worth, and I'm happy to say that Sean has put out much better music in recent years, so you're forgiven, Mr. Anderson. Now on to the good stuff. So Beyonce and Kanye sound great together on the hook. I think both of Ye's verses have some really funny lines like this, and I know a couple people this applies to as well. I also like that bar where he says he killed the fur in Paris and made the murder rate go up. Beyonce's verse is short, but it's nice and she sounds great as always. The song has a triumphant end and it's beautiful. Please don't think I'm a hater because I think Lost in the World would have worked better as an outro. It's literally the outro for the film, but See You Now is great nonetheless. And with all that being said, here's the tracklist ranking. 11 out of 10, baby! This album is so fucking good! Wow, so I wrote this outro on February 25th, 2022. This has been my most requested video, and I really hope it lives up to everyone's expectations. I started it in early December, so it took 3 full months to write. It's 41 pages and 10,000 plus words. That being said, I think I need a little break, or I need to start working on smaller videos. I guess we'll see. But back to the topic of the video, Kanye. Our man has been a hot topic since 2004, and I feel like whenever we see his name in the news, our minds all go to worst case scenario. And the same can actually be said for what's going on with him right now. I'll always stand by this statement, Kanye needs a better circle. Sure, while the memes and rants can be funny, I think they're cries for help more than anything. This picture telling us that everything he's saying is him and he's not hacked is honestly kind of heartbreaking. I genuinely feel bad for the dude. He clearly has a lot of personal issues that don't seem to be being dealt with in a healthy way. Although I'm in no way defending his actions. He's terrorizing his family and we're all being forced to watch. And that also isn't defending Kim Kardashian. Fuck her. She knows that she can say anything relating to Kanye acting up and the media and a lot of people will believe her. But there is another side to that coin in that even with all the money and resources in the world, she has such a hard time divorcing her husband, being stalked and harassed. So stop asking women in domestic violence situations why they can't just leave. While it might be easy to paint him as crazy, I think it only makes the situation worse. Kanye has had a troubled past, and a lot of people point to the death of his mother as the beginning of the end for him. And honestly, I can't blame him for that specifically. I don't know what it's like to lose a parent. I can't imagine that it's easy to move past, or that you ever really do. One thing I see passed around a lot is Kanye is crazy, but he's a musical genius. And look, I may disagree with this guy on a lot of things, like a lot, but calling him crazy is just wrong. There's a possibility that he isn't being medicated for his bipolar disorder, and for the people who love and care about him, I can imagine how hard this might be to watch. Shit, it's hard for me to watch, and I don't even know the guy. It's also worth noting that Pete Davidson also suffers from BPD. So anyone saying how this video is just for shock value and people need to stop being sensitive don't realize how it could send someone in his situation spiraling. And the same can be said about Kanye. We were exposed to a handful of things that very clearly sent him spiraling. The point is, Kanye is a human like the rest of us. His current behavior is unnerving to say the least, but I'll never stop praying for him. Kanye, I hope you get the help you need, and I hope you find happiness. Thanks for watching. I worked really hard on this video, and I hope it shows. So leave some video recommendations in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.